Hey guys, it's Rob Zeoli, real estate agent here in South Florida. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I wanted to do something a little bit differently. We're getting a lot of reach outs from people moving to the greater Fort Lauderdale and South Florida area, and some of them are making the same mistakes as far as areas and picking properties online and just kind of unsure of what is really here and what is available. So I wanted to go through the entire county today and kind of break it down and have it make more sense if you're planning a move here to the South Florida area. Now, what I wanted to do on the computer here was just give you an overview of the greater Fort Lauderdale area, which is Broward County, how it's situated, some of the major roads. So if you can see the red dot or the red dotted line up top here is the northern edge, and this is the southern edge. And you can really see it's not that big of an area. So if I measure the distance from the top to the bottom, to the southern area, to Miami, it's basically 25 or about 26 miles. And if I go straight across from the furthest point in Weston, which is the furthest western point by the Everglades, you can see we got 19, but about 20 miles that way. So really not that big of an area. And again, a lot of people make kind of, I don't want to say the same mistakes, but they look online, they look at a lot of data, they kind of pick areas out and houses out without really knowing where they are. They're looking at data as far as schools, and they're shopping for a home and picking something out before they even really know what is around here and how to get around. So I want to look at some of the major roads. So if you look, I don't want to zoom in too much at this point, but you see 95 is one of the main thoroughfares or freeways that goes north and south. That's on the eastern side. We also have 75 south, which goes from the tip of Miami up to Weston and then turns into the Sawgrass Expressway along the western edge and then wraps around and comes east on top of Parkland and goes across the entire county. So one of the ways that you really figure out how to get around this area is to really know your direction, north, south, east, and west. It sounds pretty simple, but when I first moved here in 2005, Google Maps wasn't really a thing, or probably was, but it's not something you really thought of. And my brother actually told me all you had to do is learn your north and south and east and west and which roads go that way, because everything is really in a grid and you could really figure out how to get anywhere. I didn't really do that back in New York, and when I lived in Los Angeles, same thing. That was before the internet, really. I'm kind of dating myself, but you get the point. But it's really simple. If you look, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So we did the north, south, east, and west. We did the north and south routes, but also the main roads. So let's look at the middle of the county, which is where I live, right here in the middle, Plantation. So if you look, all these other roads here, so University Drive, Pine Island, Flamingo, all these roads that go north and south will take you through all of the cities throughout the county. So you'll pass through Tamarack, Sunrise, Plantation, Davie, Cooper City, Pembroke Pines. Same thing on the eastern side, Pompano Beach, Oakland Park, Fort Lauderdale, Dania Beach, Hollywood. And on the western edge, again, same thing, Miramar, Pembroke Pines. You're going to have Davie, Southwest Ranches. So really, if you learn all these roads, you can get anywhere. Same thing going east to west. So you're going to have Sampler Road. You're going to have Commercial, Sunrise Boulevard, Broward Boulevard goes straight through Plantation and through Fort Lauderdale. As you get a little further down south, Sterling Road, Sheridan Street, so Hollywood Boulevard. So learn these roads and you can get anywhere. Also, the county is really broken up. I like to look at it in 4 different quadrants, but really people look at it as an east side and a west side. So if you kind of draw a line straight down the middle and across, you'll have 4 different quadrants. So you'll have the northeast, the southeast, southwest, and the northwest parts of the county. And really from there, once you get down here and you figure out where you're going to be working or what you want to be close to and what your commute time or what type of commute time you want, that really starts to narrow down where you're going to wind up throughout the entire county. So another thing is that people look at schools a lot and they look at school ratings, which is a great thing to do, but you got to kind of be careful with some of the online data because it could be a little bit deceiving. So the best areas for schools, if you look at the ratings, would be Parkland, Davie, Cooper City, Weston. The thing about those areas as well, they're also the most expensive areas too. So usually when you have areas that are more expensive, you're going to have better amenities as well as better schools. Even Pembroke Pines, the western portion, very good schools, but that's also the most expensive part of Pembroke Pines. Now, if we zoom in a little bit, you can see Pembroke Pines covers the the southwestern portion of Broward County, which is right over here. As you go a little bit more north, you have Weston, which is on the far western edge. We're getting a little bit towards the center of the county. And also, if you move over east, you're going to head, Pembroke Pines is actually very big, so it covers the mid portion, the southern portion, but in the middle part of the county. And then as you go to the southeastern side, you have Hollywood, Dania Beach, and then you move up to the eastern portion of Fort Lauderdale. Also, again, in the middle of the county, we have Plantation, which is also a neighboring city to the town of Davie, and we have Cooper City right here. So, again, I just want to stress how close everything is here. All of these cities, as far as a commute time, you're talking, I mean, what do you got? 20, 30 minutes max in traffic to get to and from any of these areas. And then as you move a little bit further north, same thing. You know, the furthest part north would be Parkland, which is the most expensive city in the county. And you go a little bit further east, Deerfield Beach. And as you make your way down the northeastern portion, you come down to Coconut Creek, Lighthouse Point, Pompano Beach, down to Oakland Park, and again, Fort Lauderdale, the eastern portion. Fort Lauderdale also covers a huge portion of the middle part of the county. And then as you come down the northwestern side, and you come down south, you're going to run into Coral Springs, Tamarack, neighbors to Sunrise, and now you're back into Plantation. So that is the entire county. And I can't tell you how many people I talk to that really don't realize that they have all of these different options. It's really just a matter of lifestyle and preference. Any of these areas, I can pretty much guarantee that if you're relocating here, the commute time is probably going to be less than what you're used to in a real big city, a real big metro. A lot of the cities, say like the city of Houston is bigger than this entire county of the greater Fort Lauderdale area or Broward County. So from people reaching out and people that we help, I can tell you the most popular cities that they kind of gravitate towards would definitely be, and these are in no particular order, say Coral Springs, Parkland for sure, in the higher price point, but Coral Springs, Davie, Weston, which is another higher price point, Pembroke Pines, Cooper City, Plantation, and also, guys, the eastern side. So anywhere up and down the East Coast, you can see anywhere between US 1 and A1A, all these Finger Lakes and these canals, and obviously right by the beach, extremely popular with people that want to buy condos, and also people that want to live that lifestyle of being on the eastern side. It's a much different lifestyle than being on the west side. So that's just kind of a brief overview of the county itself and what there is to offer in each of the different cities. Now, what about pros and cons of living in one city versus another? Well, I guess pros and cons would be kind of like depend on what your lifestyle is and where you want to be. So some people would think that maybe Parkland or Coral Springs would be a little bit far out of the way, I guess, if that was somebody who would want to visit Miami or something like that, or wants to be closer to Miami because it's more of downtown, or maybe someone who commutes to Miami. A lot of people do commute to Miami to work, so that might be one of the cons of living up in the northern area of the county. as opposed to the southern if you work in Miami. Anybody that's on the western side will be further away from the beach, so someone who wants to live closer to, I won't say the action, but there's more activities and more amenities on the eastern side, especially when it comes to being by the beach. That could be a con, and it could be a pro if you're looking at it the other way. Also, the western side is more, I guess you would call it like a suburb. We don't really look at it that way down here, but it's a little quieter than being on the east side, a little less city-like. It's not going to be like a downtown Fort Lauderdale, or it's not going to be as busy as if you're living over by the beach. It's a lot busier there, a lot more tourist activities. So that could be a pro if you want to be away from that if you're on the west side, or a con if you want to be closer to the action on the east side. So pros and cons, it just depends on what you're looking for and what type of lifestyle you want to lead and where you want to live. Now, what about cost of living? So really the cost of living for general items that we all, need to live is kind of the same, but the biggest portion of anybody's cost of living is housing related. So if you're going to look at it that way, Parkland, Weston, would be the two highest as far as cost of living because your housing expenses are going to be higher. But every one of the cities has high-priced neighborhoods and areas that are a little more affordable. So it's kind of like a hard thing to say or to really break down. But obviously, if you're going to be in a more expensive area, your cost of living is going to be higher. Just like if you're in a high-rise luxury building on the east side here as well. One thing that people reach out a lot and talk about are taxes. Okay, so I want to show you this. This is our Broward County Property Appraiser's website. And a lot of people ask, what are my taxes, or what are the taxes on the property? And they're looking at it from what they're seeing advertised as taxes, but that is going to change. Now, depending, it's not going to matter that much, but depending on where you're looking to purchase, your taxes will fluctuate. They call it a millage rate. So if you come to the home buyer's tax estimator, you can pop in your city, put in your purchase price, your exemptions, go down here, calculate, and it'll give you an idea of what your taxes will be. But if you look here, it says the tax estimator is based on the average millage rate of all the different municipalities. So each area has a different millage rate. And if you come here, it'll kind of show you what they are depending on the area you're looking in. So you could look for Fort Lauderdale, starts with Fort Lauderdale, Dania, Hollywood, and it shows you all the different millage rates. So depending on which city you wind up in, your tax basis or your percentage of what they charge you will change depending on the city. It doesn't change that much, but if you do look here, there are some, say Hollywood, 22.271 millage rate. Weston is one of the cheapest here with 15 and 17, but Weston also has a higher price point. But this right here is a good resource, and that will definitely change your cost of living depending on which city you wind up looking in. And also another thing about your cost of living, if you're going to be anywhere on the, if you're going to have a house that's anywhere near the beach, your insurance is going to be higher because of the risk of hurricane damage. So anywhere near water, any sort of a beachside house or anything like that, that's another thing. First of all, your price point is going to be higher, but also you're going to be looking at higher insurance premiums, and that's going to raise your cost of living as well. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up right there. I hope that this video helped you in some way. If you have any other questions or you're planning a move into South Florida or out of South Florida, I would absolutely love to be your real estate resource of choice. All you got to do is reach out. You can connect with me at the email below, rob@homesbyrobertz.com, or text me or give me a call at the number below. And I look forward to connecting with you soon, and I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.